Hello and welcome. So today we have evidence of a outer wheel seal on a drive axle leaking. Truck just came back to the yard, driver's in a bit of a hurry, and I'm like, well, crap. Good news, these things are really quick to do. So we're gonna start, get our impact, try to not make too much noise, but only so much we can do about that. You know what? Don't need to jack the truck up or anything like that. This is a real simple, straightforward thing. Sometimes you get one that the stud comes out, not a big deal, don't worry too much about it, because that's not going to be the end of the world for you. Just make sure that you don't lose any of these washers or any of the nuts, because that's kind of an important detail. Otherwise you end up using a subpar washer sometimes, and that's not ideal. Coincidentally, it's leaking on the stud that has the subpar washer. But small potatoes. I'll find a hammer, because that'll make this job a little easier. And they pop right off. It's gonna make a mess if you don't put a drain pan under it, but I'm kind of in a hurry today, so we're just gonna make a mess. It'll be okay. And your axle shaft just slides right out of there. Pretty straightforward. We'll just pop this old one out. Throw that to the side, that's garbage. And I mean, the surfaces look pretty clean. There's the bluish tint from it, but that's not enough. I'm gonna worry about scraping. And your new ones, you can buy them. I think they're all basically the same. All my trucks use the same one. It's a Felpro GKT1008. They're pretty much all the same, so good news there is it's not like the parts are terribly expensive. There's two versions. There's one that's kind of like a paper gasket, and then there's this one that feels like it has a thin piece of metal in it. I like the ones with the metal in them, and just because they seem to be more sturdy and hold up a little longer. But personal opinion, these are about $12, $14 a piece. The paper ones are like $8, so kind of depends on what you're trying to keep your budget at, I guess. And let's see, silicone seems to be a little bit dry and crusty. That could be a problem. Remedy that real quick. Alright, that's non-cooperative. Alright, well, I was going to put a little layer of silicone all the way around the edge of it, but not anymore. The truck's kind of needed back in service, so we'll just put it back together. And it shouldn't have a problem. You shouldn't have to add silicone to these, but I've talked to many different people of many different beliefs on what's necessary and not. So that's up to you and how you want to do your program with it. Like, there's a lot of opinions in trucking if you haven't pieced that together. I don't like most of them. But now we get the fun part, which is you just slide this thing back in, and you kind of got to tilt it up a little bit so it lines back up with the splines. And then it just slides right back on in. Line up the holes, push her on, easy peasy. You know, probably one of the easier things you can deal with, because we're 5 minutes into this job and we're almost done. Just got to piece it back together and top off the oil, because you lose a little bit when you drain it like this. So I'd say that's like 1/4 of a quart, not too bad. So we'll top it up anyway after this is done. But you just tighten these nuts back up and you are set. A fresh seal will be installed. It shouldn't leak, and you can carry about your way and get back to business without paying some shop a minimum of an hour labor to do what's essentially a 10-minute job, because they've got their labor minimums, and I just don't see the need for it. You know, this doesn't require a lot of tools. You could do it with a hand ratchet even, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. And there you go. It's that simple. Now we no longer have a leaking seal. Back to business. No big shop fee. Like I said, it's a $12 to $14 part and about a 5 to 10 minute job. I don't know. If you're an owner op, I don't see why we'd be paying for this sort of work to be done for you, unless, you know, extenuating circumstances, which do happen, honestly. But with that being said, stay safe out there, my friends, and you know, make sure you keep an eye on those maintenance costs, because right now they're killer. We'll talk to you next time.